Here's something strange. Two people both have $500 in savings, same income, same city, same bills. But 5 years later, one of them has $80,000 in the bank, and the other one still has $500. What happened? It wasn't luck. It wasn't a raise. It wasn't crypto or some secret investment strategy. It was something much simpler and much more psychological. There's a specific moment in your savings journey, a number where everything quietly shifts, where money stops feeling like something you're chasing and starts feeling like something that's working for you. That number is $20,000, and today we're going to talk about why crossing that threshold changes not just your bank account, but your entire relationship with money. Most people think about savings the wrong way. They think the goal is to save money so that one day, in the distant future, they'll finally feel financially safe. So they grind, they cut lattes, they feel guilty every time they spend, and yet somehow the number barely moves, and the feeling of financial security stays just out of reach. Here's the trap. They're focused entirely on the behavior of saving, but they're ignoring the psychology of what savings actually does to your brain. Because here's the truth, the first $500 you save feels good. The first $2,000 feels better. But somewhere around $20,000, something completely different happens, and most people never talk about it. Let's back up and think about this from the beginning. When you have very little saved, let's say under $1,000, every financial decision feels urgent. Every unexpected bill is a crisis. Your brain is constantly in what psychologists call a scarcity mindset. You're not thinking about the future, you're surviving the present. This is exhausting, and it makes bad decisions more likely, not because you're irresponsible, but because your mental bandwidth is being used up just managing stress. Now imagine you push that number to $5,000. You start to feel a little safer. One emergency won't wipe you out, but $5,000 still feels fragile. A car repair, a medical bill, a job wobble, and you're back to zero. At $10,000, something shifts again. You can breathe a little. You have options. But here's the thing. $10,000 still mostly just protects you. It's defensive money. It guards against disaster, but it doesn't really do anything. Then you hit $20,000, and this is where the game changes entirely. $20,000 is the first number where your money starts to have real leverage. Think of it like this. Imagine you're pushing a boulder up a hill. From $0 to $10,000, you're mostly pushing uphill. It's hard. Every setback rolls you back. The effort feels bigger than the progress. But $20,000 is near the top of that hill, and once you crest it, the boulder starts rolling on its own. Here's why. First, compounding interest finally becomes visible. Let's say you put $20,000 into an index fund averaging 8% annually. That's $1,600 in growth in a year without you doing a single thing. That might not sound huge, but here's what's important. That $1,600 doesn't require your time. It doesn't require your energy. It just appears. At $5,000, your 8% is $400. That's barely noticeable. At $20,000, it starts to feel real. And at $40,000, it becomes undeniable. This is the compounding effect people talk about, but the part nobody tells you is that you have to accumulate enough before compounding feels meaningful. You have to cross the threshold first. Second, and this is the psychological part most people completely miss, $20,000 changes how you make decisions. When you have very little saved, you make fear-based decisions. You take the safer job even if it pays less because you can't afford to take a risk. You don't negotiate your salary because you need that paycheck now. You don't start the business because there's no cushion if it doesn't work. But with $20,000 sitting in your account, your nervous system relaxes, and a relaxed brain makes better long-term decisions. Researchers call this the difference between reactive thinking and proactive thinking. Scarcity triggers reactive thinking, short-term, defensive, survival-focused. Abundance, even modest abundance, triggers proactive thinking. You start seeing opportunities, planning ahead, taking calculated risks. $20,000 isn't just money, it's a permission slip to think differently. So what does this actually mean for you? It means that if you're early in your savings journey, your one job is simple. Get to $20,000. Not to retire, not to invest in real estate, not to start a business, just get there. Make that your first real milestone. Because once you're there, two things happen automatically. One, your money starts contributing. Slowly at first, but it contributes. Each year, the returns get slightly larger. Each year, you have to work slightly less hard to grow. Two, your mindset shifts in a way that makes every financial decision after that point a little bit smarter, a little bit calmer, and a little bit more focused on the long game. And here's the practical path. Be intentional about automating your savings before you can spend it. Treat it like a bill you pay yourself first. It doesn't need to be dramatic. Even $300 a month consistently gets you to $20,000 in under 6 years. With interest, maybe faster. The goal isn't speed. The goal is consistency until you cross the threshold. Here's the thought I want to leave you with. Most people spend their entire lives chasing a feeling of financial security that always seems just one raise, one bonus, or one lucky break away. But financial security isn't a feeling that arrives when you have enough money. It's a feeling that arrives when your money stops being purely defensive and starts working alongside you. $20,000 is where that shift begins. It's not the finish line. It's the moment the race finally feels winnable. And once you cross it, you'll understand something that's very hard to explain to someone who hasn't felt it yet. Money doesn't just buy things. Enough of it in the right place buys you the mental space to become someone who builds even more of it. So if you're not there yet, that's your target. Not a dream vacation, not a luxury car, $20,000 in savings invested and working. Everything else gets easier from there.